Montana Governor Steve Bullock won't be on the primetime stage later this month for the first presidential debate. On Thursday, the Democratic National Committee announced the 20 candidates who will share the debate stage later this month, and Governor Bullock is among 4 candidates who failed to make the grade. To qualify for the first debate, candidates had to either collect contributions from at least 65,000 unique donors or notch at least 1% support in 3 polls. Although the Bullock campaign maintains the governor did achieve the required support in 3 separate polls, the DNC denied his petition to be included. That decision is not sitting well with the Bullock campaign. In an interview with Fortune magazine, Bullock said, "Keeping me from the first debate shows we haven't learned our lesson from 2016 and that might squander our chances in 2020. The governor's campaign continues to tout the fact that Bullock is the only candidate in the field who won a Trump state and has passed major legislation with the Republican-controlled legislature. Former Vice President Joe Biden, Vermont Senator Bernie Sanders, and Massachusetts Senator Elizabeth Warren top the list of frontrunners who made the cut. The first debate, which will be split over 2 nights on June 26th and 27th, will broadcast on MSNBC, Telemundo, and NBC stations nationwide. Vice President Mike Pence took in some sights of Yellowstone National Park and took on the topic of deteriorating infrastructure. MTM's Chet Lehman was there.
Once Vice President Pence and his entourage arrived at Old Faithful, they were greeted by several officials to get a sense of some of what goes on in Yellowstone. The new Facilities Director, Dwayne Bullock, Fire Services Director, John Cataldo, and Interpretive Ranger, Rebecca Rowland. Pence then went to meet the crowd.
Hundreds of miles of roads, hundreds of backcountry campsites, bridges, tunnels, other infrastructure that have helped open up Yellowstone to the wider world. And it's amazing to think of the impact that this has had on the region and the enjoyment of the people of the United States of America.
The topic in Yellowstone on this day, infrastructure.
Across the Park Service, more than $12 billion in repairs are needed for roads, bridges, water systems, trails, and more.
And Old Faithful living up to its name, putting on a show as Vice President Pence was speaking. Then it was down to business.
We've actually proposed what will be known as the Public Lands Infrastructure Fund. Under President Trump's leadership, we will dedicate 50% of all of the revenues from leases on public lands to improve and maintain the infrastructure of our national parks.
Speeches timed perfectly with an eruption of Old Faithful, but after all the talking was over, there was some work to do. The infrastructure they were here to talk about includes some of that boardwalk behind us here at Old Faithful. Started to fall apart. So after all the talking was done, the Pences, Secretary Bernhardt, and Superintendent Shawley went to work with the Montana Conservation Corps volunteer crew to help repair some of it.
When asked about budget cuts to Interior, the Vice President said this infrastructure proposal will be a solution.
We believe that the combination of investments that we're making is exactly the right level. But the historic investment that we will be making in maintenance, by literally creating a funding stream for maintenance from our public leases, we believe will more than meet the maintenance obligations of our national parks.
Vice President Pence says the Public Lands Infrastructure Fund has broad support from both sides. Vice President not only got in some work, he spent a few minutes with some others waiting for the next eruption. At Old Faithful in Yellowstone, Chet Lehman, MTN News.
And Chet tells us the Pences flew back to Washington, D.C. Thursday evening. Wyoming's Governor Mark Gordon was part of a roundtable discussion with President Donald Trump, the Secretary of Labor, and 7 other governors at the White House. They covered a wide range of workforce-related topics. The bipartisan group of governors highlighted federal and state efforts to reduce barriers and expand economic mobility for America's workers. Governor Gordon highlighted the newly created Wyoming Works program, which helps expand technical and trade programs at Wyoming's community colleges and provide grants for students. A former president of Rocky Mountain Bank pleads not guilty to multiple crimes in an alleged scheme to defraud the bank. Those charges against 45-year-old Stephen Casher include bank fraud, money laundering, and blackmail. The indictment alleges that in September of 2014, Casher approved a bank loan to Larry Price Jr. without disclosing the existence of other outside loans that Casher had arranged and knew about. Price is the man involved in the fraud-filled Billings mansion in Ironwood who staged his own abduction, admitted to embezzlement, fraud, and money laundering. If convicted of the most serious crime, Casher faces a maximum of 30 years in prison and a $1 million fine. Local organizations want to transform Billings Colson Park into something more. Located along the Yellowstone River, close to I-90 and covering 50 acres of land, the public had its first chance to comment on some ideas Thursday night. The Parks Department has been working with Big Sky Economic Development and DHM Design, along with several other groups. The meeting featured ideas from other cities, including an amphitheater. The discussion also covered how Colson fits into the Billings Park system, transportation, and ecology.
Pretty amazing. I mean, 50-acre park right on the Yellowstone River with the Sacrifice Cliffs there. I mean, it's a real compelling site. Our hope is to really transform that into kind of a special place that's activated, feels safe, and really provides a great asset for the community.
Meadows says the plan is to get a draft done this summer and have a completed master plan ready in October. Well, there must be something in the water in Bozeman, or maybe not in the water. The American Water Works Association now says Bozeman tap water is the third best tasting in the nation. Every year at the group's conference, the People's Choice Taste Test determines which cities earn the title of the best water in the nation.
Well, when people complain about water, they usually complain about the taste of chlorine. So, you know, we try not to add too much, just enough. And then mineral content. Some people like well water and it's got higher minerals. Pretty subjective.
And we hear this is the third year in a row Bozeman has won the award for best water in Montana. Back here in Billings, another dream comes true thanks to the Montana Hope Project, which makes dreams come true for critically ill children. 7-year-old Jaden Smith has a brain tumor. The Hope Project will send him and his family to Disney World in Orlando, Florida. His family says he enjoys swimming and playing in the water, and they appreciate support from the program.
It just makes the family all joy that there's people out there who care for Jaden, and as much as we do and are willing to help and afford things like we can. It's really helpful.
I'm looking forward to Jaden having fun. I'm looking forward to him saying, like, having laughter and joy.
My troopers really love to do this. It's all wonderful. So the biggest thing about it for me is the families get a no pressure week, which to them is absolutely amazing.
The Montana Hope Project has granted 475 wishes since 1984. Before we take a break, a diaper company's recent survey found 90% of dads have gone into a public bathroom without a baby changing table. That was the case for one Florida father who took to social media to call attention to the problem and is now fighting for change. He sat down with CBS's Kenneth Craig.
Yeah, so it's just, this is the moment where everything in my life pretty much took a turn.
In that moment, inside a restaurant bathroom, Dante Palmer says an everyday challenge for dads became his new mission.
What's it been like?
It's been mind-blowing. In the beginning, it was just an idea. I posted a picture to get reactions from family and friends. That next morning is when my wife woke me up and said, "Hey, check your phone."
The photo shows the father of 3 improvising to change his 1-year-old's diaper because the men's bathroom had no changing table.
I just get into my perfect man squad, threw my son over my lap and began to change him.
The post went viral, and soon dads across the world joined the conversation.
You good?
Lance Summerfield organizes meetups in New York through the website citydadsgroup.com. He and the other fathers say it's nearly impossible to find a restroom with a changing table.
I end up changing a diaper on a park bench, usually on the floor because it's the safest place.
Dante has joined forces with Pampers.
Somebody's got a stinky woo!
Which has also partnered with singer-songwriter John Legend on a new effort to install 5,000 public changing tables across North America. But for Dante,
I'm an active father.
it's about so much more.
This isn't just about changing a baby's diaper.
It's not. It's changing narrative. It's changing the image of what a father looks like.
A hands-on parent whose role goes beyond the breadwinner. Kenneth Craig, CBS News, New York.